Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2020 Irrigation Association New Product Contest Judging Presentations. I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Rainbird Corporation, for making this all possible this year and helping us transition everything to virtual. Without your support, this wouldn't be happening. So thank you, Rainbird. Today, you are tuned in to hear from our specialty agriculture and agriculture product categories. We do have 3 products in our specialty agriculture category, and then we will immediately go into our ag category and hear from 9 products. Each contestant will be given 5 minutes, 4 minutes to present, and then we'll take the next minute to hear from the judges if they have a question or two. Contestants, I will actually be going off video during your presentation. I will come back on video when you have 30 seconds left, so please consider that your 30-second warning. And now I have the opportunity to introduce our judges for today. So we have Stephen Smith. He is a consulting agricultural and water resource engineer from Wade Water. We have Calvin Perry. He is a superintendent and public service associate from the University of Georgia. And Chris Henry is an associate professor and water management engineer from the University of Arkansas. So welcome, gentlemen, and thank you so much for judging for us today. So for the sake of time, I think let's go ahead and get started here. Our first product is the SDIE from Netafim USA. And Chuck, when you come up, if you want to just go off mute and put your camera on for us.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Give me just a second to understand Zoom. I'm sorry we don't use this platform.
Let me know if I can help you out.
Okay, I think I am good. Okay, I'm assuming you guys can see the screen.
We can.
Great. Well, thank you. My name is Chuck Bates. I'm a market segment leader for specialty crops with Netafim USA. And today we are going to talk about SDIE, which is subsurface drip irrigation for the use of dairy effluent water. And really, what is the system and why is it innovative? First of all, it's the first system that we've been able to commercialize that mixes fresh water and effluent water in a way that it can be applied to silage crops in a variety of different locations around the country here. So really the heart of the system is in the filter station here, where we draw from 2 different water sources, put it through a mixing system and advanced filtration in order to accomplish the injection of the manure from the lagoon into the irrigation system. And I've got a quick video here that kind of goes over the details of it.
In California, to be able to grow a forage crop, you need water. Demand for the crops and the amount of rainfall that we get is usually not sufficient. So irrigation water is number one, the most important. If we don't have water, then we don't have a crop.
Livestock manure is a vital resource that we can use and incorporate in the farming operation. With the system that we experimented with for the last 3 years, the SDI with inducting lagoon water directly into that has provided to be, just a huge benefit.
So in this particular dairy, we get about 350 gallons a minute, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So that's a large amount of water that they're using throughout the year that they want to be able to utilize the byproduct after it goes through and cleans the dairy out here in the fields.
What this system does is it allows you to spoon feed your crops the amounts of nutrients that it does need through the drip tape. So you're able to more accurately apply.
So we talk about sustainability, this system really closes the loop. So first, the cow will eat its feed, process the feed, and then waste is produced. That waste gets flushed out through a wet dairy system, which means they actually wash the pens down several times a day to keep it clean for the cows. That water and nutrients is brought into holding ponds, where it's passed over an angle screen or into an area where solids are separated out. From that solid separation, it goes into either your secondary or tertiary pond. It's more of like a T. From that T, it passes through some pre-filtration into the system. At that point is where we blend the affluent water and the fresh water to make the desired blend that we need to go out to the field to be utilized by the plants. From there, it goes out in the field on a fully automated system that's put out exactly when the plant needs it and correctly across the field. From there, you grow the crop, you then harvest it and take it back into the cow. So it's a complete circle of everything being utilized on the dairy.
There is a meter, what we call an electrical conductivity sensor. That senses what the salt content is basically. Back on the lagoon inlet side, there's a butterfly valve that adjusts on the fly based on that sensor and tells it, hey, how much ratio do we need to put in through these filters? And then we're filtering it with your typical San Media filters you would see in an almond orchard or vineyard or other permanent crops.
So generally, we're seeing 25 to 30% decrease in water use, 25 to 30% increase in our yields. Us using the effluent to us having to use commercial fertilizer, that comes out to $200 plus $300 an acre.
So for many years, the NRCS has been funding subsurface drip systems for about $1,000 an acre. This system, they're actually going to fund for $2,871 an acre. This means that this system will be covered anywhere from 75 to 85% from the NRCS funding.
You know what? I'm actually excited about the system. I don't have to be sitting here watching it, monitoring it. I can be on my phone with my feet up if I wanted to, but most farmers don't do that. But anyway, it's an option.
Every one of our partners that joined us for the testing of this have already applied for multiple expansions to these systems, as well as any farmer that we've talked to about it is already looking to put in to see if they can get the share costing to put one of these systems in their dairies.
Everybody wants to go to bed at night and lay your head down at night and say, like, I'm doing my best, you know, and when you're putting this technology out there, you're maximizing the capabilities of what you have to offer, right? Whether it's manure, water, all these resources that are scarce, right? And you want to go home and you want to feel good about what you're doing, and you want to feel like you're part of the solution. And this technology offers you that.
It's a happy plant, happy cows, happy plants. That's what we strive for.
Great. So that in a nutshell kind of covers what the system is. We're actually using it to replace synthetic nitrogen on a lot of these fields. And it's definitely something very innovative that NetFim's come up with in the last few years. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Chuck. So now we'll open up to the judges. Stephen went off mute.
I found that very interesting, and I don't have any specific questions.
I had a question. So a lot of the times in our manures, the nutrients are imbalanced between NP and K. How did you overcome that so you didn't overapply one nutrient versus the other in your system?
So basically you couple this with a pretty sophisticated sampling frequency of what the source water is. We do a lot more sampling on these dairy lagoons than we would do on a typical SDI system. And we're monitoring EC as it changes through the system, but it's really, we kind of determine the mixes based on a sampling protocol that we utilize for these projects.
So which nutrient do you go off of, the supplement or base your
primarily nitrogen?
Nitrogen. So you're over applying the others in the process. So what's the long-term goal then? If you over apply the P, how long will the system last?
Actually, what we've found on it is that we're actually under applying certain nutrients and have to supplement them. We haven't found any specific situation where we've over applied nutrients at this point.
So does this work for all bedding types, or was this a sand-laden manure system?
For all bedding types, it's basically a wet barn system. So the pens are washed out frequently throughout the day, and the materials conveyed from there to a solid separation process, and then into a first lagoon.
So they were using sand, it looked like in the picture. Would this work for other bedding types? Do you think it'd be a problem for it? Is or sawdust or straw?
Yeah, so the not to my knowledge, but we haven't really experimented much with other bedding types at this point. The initial experiments and initial product launch has been in California. We've got a pretty consistent profile within the customer base.
Chuck, do you require a special drip tape to use this system?
Generally, we recommend our Aries product, which is our largest profile dripper, but we've also used Streamline drippers, which are a very small profile dripper, and Typhoon drippers, which are kind of in the middle there. So we haven't had any issues with any specific brand, but because of the high load of suspended solids that is part of this, we really recommend that you go with the largest profile dripper that you can.
And does it require a lot of extra flushing as a routine?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It doesn't flush disproportionately to a typical system, but we do control the flushes with compressed air rather than water. So there is probably a slightly increased flushing cycle as it goes into it. There's lots of pre-filtration ahead of the point where it hits the media tanks, which eliminates the vast majority of the solids loads.
Okay, thank you so much for your questions, and thank you so much, Chuck.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Have a great day.
So now we will go on to our next product, which is the PhytoCat and PhytoCat Organic from Bioorganic Catalyst Incorporated. Hi, Parker, if you just want to get off mute.
I just took it off. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Again, I don't know if we have videos attached.
You can share your screen if you have it pulled up. At the bottom there, you should have an option to share your screen.
Okay.
And I can let you know when we see it.
Share screen. Let me see here. There we go. Okay. Oh, I guess I'd have to put on the PowerPoint that I submitted.
Yeah, you should if you just go to your PowerPoint right now, we should be able to see it.
Let me see if I can find it. Actually, let me put that aside. Has everybody seen the PowerPoint or the presentation material? Because in it we have embedded videos, etc.
The judges received what you submitted for your new product application.
Okay, so that has everything in it. What we've been working over the last 20 plus years with biocatalytic chemistry in applications, basically a lot in water treatment, odor neutralization, everything related to water treatment, because we're able to increase oxygen transfer into the water column through very fine microbubbles that are very reactive. About 6 years ago, we began to enter the paper manufacturing market and have been able to replace the use of biocides to control slime buildup. Out of that, we had an opportunity during fertilizing to see if we could alleviate the problem with fouling in the emitters. This ended up working out really well. We started off with about 1 liter per acre and brought it, and we've primarily been working here in California, but we also work in Israel, South America, Australia. And we went into a microdosing approach where we use it at about 2 parts per million on a continual basis, a little bit more if we want more canopy growth or less. We've worked with Netafim a lot in solving iron problems because the organic binders hold together inorganic fouling issues. Our main approach, really using the irrigation water in providing problem-free maintenance in the distribution and emitters and whatnot of mineral and inorganic fouling. But we're also driving the water and nutrient uptake. We've been working for 2 years now with the University of California at Davis, where we've been able to show substantial improvement in yields and quality of wine grapes. And we're now building a case where we have a significant reduction in actual water required by the plant because of the enhanced uptake. As I mentioned, we worked in Netafim, like for instance, the thing where they're using reclaimed water. Anytime you have organics in your water, you're going to end up promoting biofilm growth. And if you've got inorganics, those will have a tendency to aggregate with the organic binders. Our main emphasis, though, is solving the irrigation maintenance problems by staying ahead of the problem rather than remediating it afterwards or once a year or twice a year, whatever it might be, with toxic chemicals. But we're really driving the microbiome development and the enhancement within the soil of the aerobic microbiology. We've also been quite successful in alleviating a lot of salt buildup in soil here. So this is an ongoing work. We also applied the product extensively in greenhouses, vertical farms. And again, in all cases, we're showing increased plant growth, root growth, nutrient uptake, and keeping the systems problem-free, alleviating all the chronic maintenance problems. And in California, we've had an opportunity to work, whether it's in high mineral salts or iron or organic problems. And we work in all cases. We generally start off and have people do a clean out back to that 1 liter per acre, and then go on to a constant feed of 2 to 3 parts per million. In working in the Midwest with Netafim, where we had very high water usage, and we haven't gone into the nut trees and whatnot, where they use a lot more water, we started to inject on a week, off a week, on a week, off 2 weeks, in order to stay ahead of the problem. And that's turned out to be quite good. Again, we're trying to drive our value proposition to the farmer, which is optimization of nutrient and water use and higher yields. And in the meantime, keeping his system problem-free.
Thank you, Parker. So now we will open it up to see if the judges have any questions.
Any question, guys?
With your University of California research, have they written reports on the results, or?
Yes, we have 2 papers coming out here shortly, 2 peer-reviewed papers. I have information in the presentation somewhat summarizing earlier work and a preliminary report. But we have 2 papers that are going to be published here shortly, because it was a 2-year program.
Very good, thank you.
So Parker, you said it helps with iron. Does it allow you to precipitate it out before you filter it? Is that the mechanism, or is it secreted some way?
Exactly. Yeah. It essentially we can clear iron fouling, but actually if we get ahead of the problem, we can prevent it from forming in the system. And this is what we had to do. Netafim was having a lot of problems in Texas and Oklahoma and up to Kansas. In certain areas, we had it in a more limited geography here in California, and it's run real well. Attached into our presentation, we do have a video of one of the growers that had a chronic iron problems and how that completely eliminated that.
Thank you so much, Parker. Well, for the sake of time, staying on schedule here, get to our next product.
Okay.
So our next product and our last product in the specialty ag category is the Sweet Spot Drip Tape from the Toro Company. And when you come on, just don't forget to go off mute. And if you want your camera on, please disable that.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Okay. All these new functions just came up on my screen. So let me, how do I share my screen with you guys?
There's
there
an
it is.
icon at the bottom row.
Got it.
There we go. You're good.
Okay, great. So, right, my name is Skye Anderson. I'm a product manager for the Toro Company. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about AQUA-TRAXX Sweet Spot, which is the only 6/8 ID drip tape available. So that's our new product. And first, I just want to say that, not all drip irrigation applications are unique. And there's just not one solution that works for every application and maximizes efficiency. You have some growers who are using 5/8 who say, I'm just not getting the lengths of run I want. So they're either forced to invest in additional infrastructure or added labor, or they got to upgrade to a more costly 7/8 inch drip tape. But sometimes those 7/8 drip tape designs, are over-designed. And so what that means is those growers are paying either higher product purchase prices for their drip tape, or they're paying more because they're wasting more water. And so that's where Sweet Spot comes in, where it's fits right in between the existing common 5/8 ID and 7/8 ID drip tapes. With 6/8, you get longer runs or better uniformity than 5/8. It's also less expensive in the purchase price than 7/8. And then we have it available in our standard AQUA-TRAXX drip tape, but also have it available in our new AQUA-TRAXX Azul drip tape as well. And we also have some 6/8 fittings to help out with the application. So diving into the numbers, we've got, so this first one looks at, how much more plastic are you going to be paying for? What's the distance around for that ID? And so if you upgrade from 5/8 to 6/8, you're going to be paying for 20% more plastic. But if you upgraded from 5/8 to 7/8, you're going to have to pay for 40% more plastic. And so the point here is, if you can get the lengths of run you want and the uniformity improvement that you want, it doesn't make sense to upgrade all the way to 7/8 and pay all that much more extra plastic when 6/8 could get you the results you're looking for, and you can save some money on the plastic piece. Another way to look at these is how much water does it take to fill up these lines. So if you're upgrading from 5/8 to 6/8, you have to fill that line. It takes 44% more water to fill up that line. If you're going from 5/8 to 7/8, it takes 96% more water to fill up the line. And so it's a big difference between 6/8 and 7/8. And so the point here is, if you're upgrading all the way to 7/8, you're going to lose a lot more water to run off and flushing than you would if you just had upgraded to 6/8 drip tape. And so kind of diving in a little bit more to, specifically applications. On the left here, we have a 5/8 application. And so in this particular instance, this grower wasn't getting the lengths of run that they wanted. And so they had to install some supply lines right in the middle of their field. I'm not sure if I'm hiding this from you guys. And so what that means is not only are you wasting space here for your crops, but you're also having to have fittings. Since you have supply, the drip tape going in both directions, that means you have to have fittings on both sides of the lay flat. So you're paying twice as much for fittings, and you're paying twice as much on labor to install those fittings. But if you moved to a 6/8 application, it's a much more simplified design because you can get the length of runs that you're looking for. You could put the supply lines at the top of your field to maximize the space for all your crops, not losing any potential yield. You can have fittings on one side of the supply line to reduce your fitting costs in half, reduce your labor cost as it relates to setting up the system or installing the fittings. And there is a potential, this doesn't always happen, but there is a potential to reduce your lay flat and lay flat connection costs just because you've simplified your designs. And then, moving to looking at 6/8 versus 7/8. That one's a little bit more straightforward, as we kind of talked about. Since you have less plastic, so the purchase price is less, it's more economically friendly, environmentally friendly, because you're not disposing of as much plastic or having to recycle as much plastic. And as we said before, you aren't going to lose as much water to runoff or flushing.
Thank you so much, Skylar. That is all the time that we have. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I got it.
Make sure we stay on schedule. So if there are any questions from our judges, I'll open it up.
These come in the same thicknesses, mils, as your other products?
Yes. Right now, we have 5, 6, and 8 mil available. That's what we launched. But that'll expand as we enter into new markets.
On your graphic that you showed, you had the one product on the left, the other on the right. On the right, it was SDI, was it not? Subsurface. We couldn't see any. There you go. On the right there.
Yeah, it's the drip tape is buried just. I mean, maybe a couple inches.
I just wanted to verify that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Skylar, do you anticipate other manufacturers starting to offer fittings? I see there you say it's only available from you guys.
It's definitely possible. Right now, we're the only 6/8 drip tape game in town, and we're also the only ones with 6/8 fittings.
Okay, thank you so much, Skylar.
Thank you.
So that wraps up our specialty agriculture segment. We'll go right into our ag. And I would like to announce our first product in this category is the Nautilus Ultrasonic Flow Meter from Irrigation Components International. And when you come on, just go ahead and get off mute and enable your camera.
All right, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay. I'm waiting for share screen. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Sometimes it takes a second. Did you click the share screen button at the bottom row there?
Yes, and I'm looking at my options to show. Oops, share.
Okay, perfect.
Does it come up?
It did.
Yes.
Good deal. we're all newbies at this presenting on Zoom here, it looks like. I'm trying to, there it is. All right, my name's Jim Ponick. I'm the U.S. Flow Measurement Sales Manager for Irrigation Components. I'm going to do back-to-back presentations here. So just to give you a little overview of these two flow meter technologies, these are, the manufacturer is HidroConta. HidroConta has been manufacturing flow measurement devices out of Southeast Spain for 38 years. Similar to, they have different flow meter technologies. These are the two technologies that complement the agricultural irrigation. There are other technologies, more municipally oriented, and they also manufacture control valves. So that's kind of high level introduction to HidroConta. These meters are, certified from the Spanish metrology, which is similar to the NIST, and obviously between the NSIT and the Spanish metrology, they're all tied to an ANSI standard, which gives them their global classification. The Nautilus is a ultrasonic design. It's a time-of-flight technology versus the Doppler technology that you're familiar with ultrasonic flow meters. It's high precision due to its dual path transit time versus most technologies are single path. Due to the unique design, as you see, of the Nautilus meter, the dual path signals cover more of the cross-sectional area within the inside pipe diameter. The advantages of that being the flexibility with installation. Factory maintains a 0 up and 0 down pipe diameters for a good installation. The design is a robust design. As you see, it's a cast epoxy coated. The flanges, it's a flanged inline ultrasonic meter technology, ANSI flanges. The electronics are vacuum sealed at the factory, so there's no need to get within the head itself to access the meter. Battery life, 10-year battery life, and obviously there's no moving parts to repair or replace. What's unique that HidroConta does with this flow meter technologies is the user-friendly displays, LCD display, 9 digits that covers your with the floating decimal points, so less likely to turn over your totalizations, which is a big concern with maintaining reporting. It's got full pipe detection. It has all these nice little displays on the screen to indicate, again, what you're doing, direction of flow, low battery alarm, leak detection. It comes standard with a pulse output. It also has a built-in data logger that works 24/7, 365 days and it has a 6-year memory life. This meter is a plus or minus 2% of rate. It has a high turn down, minimum to maximum flow rates. Again, the 10-year battery life, and it has a 2-year warranty. And that's all I got for the Nautilus. Any questions? I'm going to keep these short and sweet. It's a neat technology. The advantage being, again, the dual path ultrasonic capabilities.
Okay, well, so before you go into your next product, let's go ahead and see if the judges have any questions about the Nautilus.
Sure.
You mentioned it has a 6-year memory. Does that mean the battery life is 6 years as well?
Stephen, it has the data logging capabilities, will keep the data logging up to 6 years. The battery itself has a 10-year battery life.
Very good, thank you.
What sizes does it come in?
2-inch through, let me back up here, 2-inch through 16-inch.
Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and introduce the next product, but we'll also be hearing from Jim on the next one. The next product is the HydroMag flow meter, also from Irrigation Components International.
Okay, how do I keep going here? There we go. All right, what we have here is the HydroMag, and what we have is the compact electromagnetic
Hey, Jim,
design.
I'm not sure if we were supposed to see a new slide. We're still seeing Nautilus.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the,
You'll have to change it. I think you'll have to go back to share screen
okay.
and maybe
New
click
share.
on that presentation.
Okay, I just did something. I don't know what I did.
I think if you hit share or some.
There we go. We got it.
Looks like it. Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of clicking here. Sorry about that. The HydroMag is, again, at face value, it's a battery operated mag meter. HydroConta calls it the compact electromagnetic flow meter. It's their battery operated from their original design, which is AC mag meter. Again, at face value, the robust design, it's carbon steel, epoxy coated, neoprene lined. It's has programmable low frequency square wave excitation, which maintains, again, longevity on the battery life. It has digital processing with high resistance to noise. The ratio, turn down ratio, like all mag meters, are from minimum to maximum, meets that, I guess, industry standard. Most all mag meters have an industry standard of 1 to 33 feet per second. This mag meter will go down and measure flows down to 0.3 feet per second per given line size. The electronics is IP67 water resistant. So it meets that for environmental reasons out in the field, getting your pivot splashed and rained on. Okay, my screen's not advancing. There we go. Like the Nautilus meter, HydroConta prides itself in its LCD displays, user capabilities. This display is all user defined. It's accessible through a wand that you use on the display. You don't need an exterior laptop or a EEPROM type of connection to access the program. Batteries are field exchangeable through the top display here. It's got the alarm features, low battery alarm, user-defined programming. It's password protected. Usually it's, again, it's programmed by ICI before we send it out in the field per the customer's parameters. But it is, again, field accessible with the right password. Pulse output is standard. And again, the electronics are fully integrated for their flow monitoring system. The flow meter itself is plus or minus 2% of rate based off of the factory settings. The battery life could be anywhere from 3 to 6 years, but with the way the factory settings are, they're guaranteeing a 4-year battery life. And this meter also has a 2-year warranty. And the same size ranges to 2-inch through 16-inch. That's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. So the judges have any questions at this time?
Jim, you noted the previous meter was made in Spain. Where is this one made?
They're both made in Spain by the same manufacturer.
Okay, very good.
I'm noticing my I don't see my picture. Am I showing up on here?
You're not. We did see your slide. So if At the bottom, there should be an icon that says start video.
Okay. Sorry about
I never
that.
know. I never want to pressure anyone to be on video, but.
Oh, well, I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't realize I didn't hit the right button.
If you click start video, we should see you.
So Jim, are these new products that have been developed or just new products to the United States market?
These are new products to the U.S. market, Chris. These have been, again, within Spain. I'm not sure how long they've been out, but like I said, AQUA-TRAXX has been making these flow meters for 38 years. What is new for the hydromag is the battery operated meter. AQUA-TRAXX has distribution channels throughout Europe and Latin America. Irrigation Components International is just bringing this product to the U.S. market.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, judges. Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
So our next product is actually from Irrigation Components International too, but we will be hearing from a different speaker. I would like to introduce the next product, which is the Orcus Flow Meter. And Jeff, just when you come on, you'll want to go off mute and start your video.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Hello. We can hear you. We cannot see you. I'm not sure. There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Good. And sharing the screen here. Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
This looks like the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to go.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. I'm Jeff Perry, CEO and co-founder at Soundwater Technologies. Yeah, thanks again for having me here today. And I want to say thanks to Irrigation Components International for helping to set up this opportunity. Today, I present to you the Orcus Ultrasonic Portable Flow Meter. We developed this flow meter because we believe that the best flow meters are those that combine elegant form, that's the functional design, with measurement performance and reliability. And there are two parts to the Orcus flow meter. First is the sensor, which is the hardware that mounts outside the pipe and transmits and receives ultrasound. And its companion, the Orcus app, which is used to set up the flow meter, display measurements, and configure an internal data logger. The Orcus uses ultrasound because it's really the most portable technology for measuring flow. It's also extremely easy to use. All that's required is you make contact with the device to the outside of the pipe. So you don't need to alter the pipe or cut into the pipe to use the product. The flow meter will transmit ultrasound through the pipe wall and into the fluid inside the pipe to measure flow. So again, really convenient and portable. There are three key advantages to the Orcus portable flow meter. The latter two, we've made vast improvements on this last year. First is we really focus on speed and ease of use. And speed, because we find that anytime we can make the product faster to use in terms of its setup, displaying measurements, and packing up, it is also just inherently easier to use. So our customers can focus more on their jobs and be more efficient to get their job done. Our goal is to enable our customers to measure flow in less than 1 minute from the time they get to the pipe. Second is our reciprocity architecture, and this is the electronics design for transmitting and receiving ultrasound. So we've designed this around the special theorem of reciprocity from electrical network theory. And in essence, this enables our customers to make flow measurements that are extremely stable over the lifetime of the product. So they don't need to zero calibrate the meter every time they go to a pipe to install it. They don't need to annual calibrate. And ultimately, it gives them confidence that they're always getting a good measurement. And then the last advantage, and also an item that we've made huge improvements on this last year, is what we call our auto-adjusting ultrasonic output. And essentially, we come across all kinds of pipe and fluid conditions in agriculture, small pipes and clean fluids to big pipes with murky fluids and corrosion. And really, to get a measurement, what's required for an ultrasonic flow meter is that you penetrate the pipe and the corrosion in the fluid to get inside the fluid to make a flow measurement. So what our meter does under the hood is it sort of automatically adjusts the power output to accommodate to those changing conditions. And this last year, we've added, on the upper end, we've added 30 times more power output compared to what we were doing previously. And so this enables our customers to get a measurement more often when things get tough. So when there's corrosion or murky fluids. And without further ado, I give you the Orcus flow meter in action. We're arriving to a pipe here, and from the time we hit the ground, our clock is starting to the first flow measurement. The Orcus is one piece, snapped on the outside of the pipe. Power button's on. And this is the Orcus app. First, we'll set up the flow meter. All we have to do is tell the flow meter what kind of pipe it's on, which we can select from a list of drop-down menus. Really easy. The meter can also be used with multiple liquids, defaults to water. And you have to move the transducer to fit the pipe. And now in 45 seconds, we have our first measurement. So it's pretty cool, pretty fast. Certainly less than a minute. And tear down, sampling one piece, stuff in the bag, and we're out of there. Cool.
Awesome, pretty impressive.
Yeah, pretty neat. What questions do I have?
Can it be on metallic pipe?
It can. It works for most common pipe materials. Steels, stainless, aluminum, galvanized, epoxy coat, PVC.
Does the user put in the ID of the pipe? In other words, they would know what the ID is?
They could. So we focus on speed and ease of use. So initially, you can just select the type of pipe you have. So maybe it's a 4-inch Schedule 40. And from that, which the user selects from a drop-down menu, we know under the hood what the OD and the ID are. So we under the hood are handling that. But if you know better than we do, maybe you actually measured it, you can actually edit it and really dial it in.
Very good. Thank you.
Jeff, pretty much any size pipe?
Almost. The family, we have actually 3 different product lengths that accommodate different pipe size ranges. We find that some people work with different ranges of pipe sizes, and so we try to fit the smallest length of product possible for them. It's easier to port around, and maybe there's tight spaces they can fit it in. So the entire family covers anywhere from 1 inch up to 20 inches in diameter. I'd say our most common seller in agriculture is our mid-size model, which covers 1.5 inch through 12-inch diameters.
So if you have trouble getting a signal, how does the user deal with that? And I've done this a lot where you have to adjust the transducers. Do they have to guess how to move the transducer? Does that give you some guidance?
No, so we use mobile apps, so there's infinitely more feedback to the user than kind of the standard push button industrial menu kinds of things. So they're pretty limited. I mean, we have graphics and pictures, and we can make noises, and we can connect to cellular. So we pop up messages to the user if we know something's not right. Maybe the pipe's empty, or maybe we're not getting ultrasound. So actually, a user can get immediate feedback, and there's actually links to go to. We'll redirect them immediately to our website and to contact us through a chat window. So we can offer some pretty quick assistance if needed. But our goal is to avoid those situations in the first place. So that's why we have this auto-adjusting ultrasonic power. So when things do get tough, we can help penetrate the corrosion and stuff like that.
And you didn't need any silicone on the transducers to make contact with the material?
We have a greaseless option. So this works for some people and not others. Depends on the particular customer, but we have a greaseless design where the transducer is, we bond a hard silicone rubber to the bottom, and that can act as the couplant, but the customer doesn't need to worry about it. So all they do is pull out the bag, put it on the pipe. Now it doesn't work for extremely rough surfaces because the silicone doesn't really squeeze into all the little nicks and crannies on the surface. So in that case, the customer would just squeeze on a little bit of extra gel to help couple the sound into the pipe.
That'd be really nice.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right, I'd like to introduce our next product, which is a Zematic 712C irrigation controller from Lindsay Corporation. And Reese, when you come on, just don't forget to go off mute and turn your video on. Perfect. You're still on mute. There you go.
Okay, I think I'm off mute.
You're all good.
You can. All right. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of feedback here. Let me check my,
You're on mute right now. You were sounding okay to us. No echo.
I'll take out my earphones. Thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Reese Andrews. I'm the FieldNet and Zematic Controls Product Manager for Lindsay Corporation, and I'm here to talk about the Zematic 12C Smart Irrigation Controller. There we go. The controller is designed because growers are wanting more data, they're wanting more control to make more informed irrigation decisions, to improve their efficiency and utilization of natural resources, also to enhance and increase their labor productivity, as well as strike a nice work-life balance. One of our big focuses with the 712C was usability. In addition to that, to make it more usable, more feature-rich, it is cloud-based, web-ready right out of the box. So free connection right out of the box when you buy an irrigation system with a 712C. In addition to that, all electronic hardware, firmware, software was all developed and built at Lindsay. The innovative design includes the industry's largest 12-inch touchscreen, the easiest graphical user interface on the market. Some of the feature enhancements include the ability to have 2.5 times increase in output control, such as, injectors, valves. Sometimes they put valves in each corner to water the corners through that type of a control. 3 times the number of sensors can be monitored and used for control purposes. We also put the design together. Pivots are in a very harsh environment around lightning with an 86% increase in protection of the entire system. That's 70,000 amps of protection. And if a lightning storm were to go through and pop a fuse, let's say, the system would actually alert in saying you have had a surge fault, and the grower knows to make sure that they get that fused, turned around and fixed before the next irrigation is necessary. In addition, we built the platform to be very robust for not only today's applications, but for future applications. We include USB capabilities. It's got Ethernet built in, CAN bus, RS-485, serial ports, power line communication capabilities, and feature enhancements and bug fixes can be completed over the air. So just to briefly hit some of the components on the system, it's built-in GPS. That's how we precisely know where the pivot is, and that's will control the water and the chemical application as it moves throughout the field. like I'd mentioned before, it has free connectivity. We have a global 4G cellular built in. There are other communication options if cellular is not available. We also have a number of different sensors that we monitor and control by, just to name a few: pressure, as applied water using a flow meter, rainfall, temperature sensors. We can set up high and low thresholds for shutdowns, high and low thresholds for warnings, restart values. We're also integrated with the award-winning FieldNet Advisor, which is an irrigation scheduling tool that is used with crop models and weather models to drive an irrigation scheduling plan for the entire season. And those plans can actually be automatically created as well using variable rate irrigation. I mentioned we focused on the user experience, so we created a mobile app experience with the control panel. Looks very much, it's almost like, it looks like there's an iPad in there. You can also literally take the user interface away and control with just an app. So, but if you had a situation where you did not have any connection to the internet, through the app, you can actually, just sitting at your kitchen table, configure the system, email it out to somebody, or take it directly out to the system and upload, so you don't have to stand out in the wind and the weather and program the system. So you have remote capabilities, you have that local capability there right in the field.
Okay,
and to summarize, the system provides labor savings with the remote monitoring and control, also save water through irrigation scheduling and variable rate irrigation plans. And it's so simple, anybody can use it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Reese. So at this time, we'll open it up to the judges to see if there are any questions.
Is the control system compatible with a linear move machine?
It actually will be in just a few months. So we're actually taking that exact same 712C and we're going to call it a 712CL. And so that same type of system. So instead of doing everything by angle of a circle, we would be it'd be a rectangle or square, and have the capabilities of moving linearly through a field, and also have some odd shaped whether it's back and forth or L shaped, or you're coming around.
Very good.
So that's next on the roadmap, using that same technology.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reese, when will this be available?
This particular system was available in January, this past January, 4 pivots. And then the laterals we're shooting for next spring.
And this will fit into the smart pivot that was just announced?
Exactly. So the whole platform with the smart pivot, this has that, that capability. I'm glad you watched that. So it has that capability of the networked pivots. So, back in January, kind of phase 1 of that whole new platform, and having, machine health and so on. So we've got a few pieces in there that's been out there for almost a year now, and we're just going to continue to evolve on that platform.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a percent timer behind the red panel somewhere for the really old guys who can't figure this out? An override mechanism?
To control the speed of the system?
Well, if they just have to move it or can't get it to work, is there a way to override it?
I guess from a mechanical, now there is if somebody doesn't want to use kind of the digital screen, and I didn't show a slide of it, but we do have an electromechanical interface as well that is just a couple buttons. So that whole platform does have a mechanical looking, I don't know if you've seen our pivot control in the past, but it has that mechanical looking dial type of an interface. But again, even that interface has all of the same features of the 712. We call that the 700C. It doesn't have any graphical user interface, other than if you're using FieldNet, that becomes your full-time graphical user interface if you want to use it. But you still have that in the field kind of mechanical override, like you're saying.
This works on any brand of pivot?
I'm sorry?
Works on any brand of pivot?
It would work on any electrical system, correct? Any electrical pivot.
You said the cost was free for the telemetry. Was that just the first year, or does that extend past that?
So from a subscription standpoint, that would be first year free. And then after that, there would be a subscription.
All right.
And then the
Thank you
hardware's
so much.
free. Yep. Thank you,
So
Tiffany.
much, Reese. All right, I'm going to introduce our next product, which is the TWIG MC irrigation controller from Nelson Irrigation. And Tom, when you come up, just don't forget to go off mute and enable your camera.
Here you are.
We can hear you. You're pretty faint. And you're back on mute.
Hey, there you go. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Thomas Young with Nelson Irrigation Corporation in application engineering. And I have Travis Griggs here with me, who is an engineer that has developed the Twig MC. We have designed this product to work across all types of agricultural irrigation valves. And it has a focus to be simple and sustainable, meaning that it is designed for the use of simple 2D cell batteries to last an entire crop, and also the portability so that the system can be moved along with other irrigation systems. So I have a screen to share with you. Can you see me?
We can't. We just see your box. If you want to share, there's a button on the bottom row that says share screen. You'll just want to click that and then pick what you want to share.
So go to the Zoom. Go to your Zoom screen. And there should be a share somewhere. Share screen right there. Then pick the screen you want to share, which is that one. And then slideshow. Share. That's another blue one. And then hit your slideshow button.
Perfect.
This wireless valve automation is a system that consists of the valve that is located and has a Twig V on it, and then the controller, which is the brains of the system. Then there's also a hub that manages the wireless system. And it has been used quite a lot this year on portable irrigation systems that move along with the crop rotation. And the purpose of that is to have soil health and help the food supply, because the systems go along with the irrigation pipes, and they move them from various locations so that they can grow a vegetable crop and not have diseases. The Twig MC features are fully mobile control, and there's no subscription required for it. Generally, it's internet ready. Farmers are capable of setting it up on their own. It's very easy to program. It's has the map capability for establishing the shape of irrigation blocks. There are 2 pressure sensors that will indicate the pressure on the mobile devices and the flow rate. 2 pump start contacts are built in, and it's backward compatible with previous versions of the wireless valve automation. I think that is essentially an overview for it, and we'll be glad to take any questions.
Okay, I'll open it up to the judges.
Any questions?
And if there are no questions, that's also fine. See Stephen coming on.
Okay, thank you.
You know, Tom, is there a computer interface, or it's a mobile device interface, say, to produce your map blocks that you referred to in the PowerPoint?
Okay, Travis, did you hear that question?
Yeah, so all the mapping is done right there on the mobile device.
Got it. Is it on top of something like Google Earth, or how is that done?
It uses whatever the native, these are native apps, and so they use whatever the platform provides for mapping software.
Very
if it's
good.
on an Apple device, you get Apple Maps, and if it's on a Google device, you get Google Maps.
And one other quick question. You say internet ready. Does that mean it's compatible with the major cell phone manufacturers? Is that how it gets internet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tom. So our next product is actually from Nelson, but we will be switching presenters. The next product is the all-flow pressure regulator from Nelson Irrigation. And Evan, when you come on, just go off mute, and yeah, perfect.
Great, thanks, Tiffany. Okay. Ready to start. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about the all-flow PPR precision plug resistant regulator today. Of course, pressure regulators, you guys know what they are. They're critical to achieving uniform and efficient sprinkler irrigation. They maintain a constant outlet pressure to provide uniform depth of water and chemical application. Of course, regulators, they aren't new. But we've spent years and years in development on this new regulator with a goal to increase capacity, accuracy, and also reduce plugging. So let's talk about accuracy first. The first thing you'll notice about this new regulator, it has a really large diaphragm. A large diaphragm means that there's less force required for the regulator to make small adjustments in the outlet pressure. So that means there's better accuracy and in turn, better uniformity then from your sprinklers. So here's a little animation that shows how the regulator works. At the outlet of the regulator, there is the diaphragm chamber. This diaphragm senses the downstream pressure and it moves the plunger against the spring to throttle the pressure. So we manufacture our own stainless steel springs under stringent quality control standards to ensure the actual pressure is as close to the nominal as possible, which can be a real problem with a lot of regulators. The outlet pressure won't be what the nominal says it is. So pressure is actually burned then when the plunger, which is highlighted in yellow there, interacts with the seat. And as that moves up and down, it changes the outlet pressure then. So the next feature, besides the accuracy, is reduced plugging. So plugging can have some significant impact on crop yield. As you guys probably know, a single plugged sprinkler at the end of a center pivot machine can be responsible for up to 2 acres on a quarter-mile machine. And it's one of the main maintenance issues that irrigators are constantly chasing. So the offset seat shown here, it's moved out of the flow path, which minimizes the amount of area that's in contact with the actual flow path, and therefore any debris that could be coming through the sprinkler drop assembly. So it also has a steep slope, which allows the debris to slide right off the seat. And then likewise, because we've moved that seat out of the way, we can then angle the plunger off by 5 degrees, which also helps minimize the amount of debris that can be caught inside the regulator itself. So in this animation, you can see exactly how that seat works. You see the flow slides right past the seat because it isn't a significant obstacle in the main flow path. And then that angled plunger also minimizes the potential for debris to be trapped inside the regulator as it slides up and down. You'll also notice that that plunger is oversized, which further reduces plugging. I'm going to show you a close-up view of this plunger relative to the size of maybe other plungers, other regulator plungers that you would see. You can see it's significantly larger than other plungers. There's actually 52% more area there. And that results in a wide flow range. A half a gallon to 20 gallons per minute is the flow range of this regulator. So this increased flow capacity eliminates the need for a special high flow regulator at the end of the machine and therefore reduces the system cost. So all these features combine to make an efficient and accurate regulator that will also save energy. As you know, pressure is your friend at the sprinkler, but it's your enemy at the pump. And so anything you can do to reduce pumping costs is significant. The all-flow requires a minimum of 5 psi over the nominal pressure to maintain an accurate pressure. And that's compared to, say, 7 psi for other regulators that are out there. So depending on operating hours, system flow, and local power costs, this could save you about $50 per year per psi on a standard quarter-mile machine, just by having a more efficient regulator there. It's available with 3/4 inch female thread or square thread outlet that works with our 3000 and 3030 series sprinklers, and it's available in those pressure ranges, pressure models. Any questions?
Thanks, Evan.
Great graphics.
Thanks.
Couldn't avoid saying that. That's outstanding. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Chris, I see you went off mute.
No, I just went off mute just in case I had a question, but it was a very good presentation, Evan.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. We have a good team here.
Thanks, Evan. All right, our next product is the ESAC from Rinke Manufacturing Company. And Cody, just don't forget to go off mute there so we can hear you perfect.
Wonderful. Hopefully you can see my screen now. Thank you for having us, Chris, Calvin, and Stephen. Pleasure to get to watch you in action here on this particular judging. What I'd like to cover is an innovation that Rinke has introduced this year in 2020, and it is pertaining to a swing arm corner. A swing arm corner system is essentially an ancillary span that extends out beyond what we call the parent system to enable a circular based movements to catch irregular shaped grounds, and typically in the corners of the fields. And it's quite an important span because a lot of acres can be covered under that outermost end of the system. Now, historically, since these have been around since the 1980s, well, this isn't necessarily a new invention, but the application of which, combining GPS technologies, predictive analytics, as well as path of travels, has been changed. And that's what I want to discuss and share with you today. So if we look at a field of interest from an aerial view, this is a very typical use case where we have a field that has 4 corners and we want to pick up those additional acres. As we go into a corner, we call that a retraction. And as we, an extension. And as we go out of the corner, we call that a retraction. And some fields, as you can imagine, may have variations of how long they're extended or how many retractions or extensions one can take. If we look at this conventional method and using a reactive method of turning water on and off, we are essentially given this color depiction of where the water has been applied throughout the path of travel around that machine. The darker areas representing more water and the lighter areas representing less water. What this does is you combine the amount of water that has been applied under the area that is covered of the swing arm. You can therefore derive at a calculation using a applied Christiansen uniformity of 80%. Now, 80% has not been for decades in line with what can be achieved on a standard span that is maneuvering at a very predictable radius around the pivot center. And so something had to be done. And that's where this innovation of the ESAC, which stands for the electronic swing arm corner, has enabled us to achieve. Looking at the results of what ESAC can provide on a machine in the very same field, same parent machine designs, we're able to achieve a 90% Christiansen uniformity on this particular machine. Well, what's different? What has changed is our ability to predict the movements of the machine prior to making the move. Therefore, we can predict what the most and appropriate staging of the zones, the amount of water that should be dispersed based upon the area being covered. The velocity also of these swing arm corners can vary based upon the machine's speeds, and that's also been taken into account using the ESAC technology. Now, the technology itself really is embodied in mathematical algorithms that it's now patent pending based on some of our inventors here in-house. So it's been wonderful to have them be a part of this, solving this problem that we believe has been around since the inception of the swing arm corner in the early 1980s. Let me share just some further difficulties that we had to overcome. In these three representations is essentially different maneuvers a swing arm can make on the outermost end of a pivot. And there's really not one the same when we get outside of a square field. These types of maneuvers also complicate the amount of area that's covered or may have already been covered from another part of the machine as it's going throughout the field. So ESAC with its mathematical algorithms can take into account what is actually happening in the field and apply the appropriate amount of water. Now in closing, here's an odd shaped field. And this is actually more typical nowadays as we're trying to cover acres that we haven't covered before. And in this particular case, we were able to increase to a 97% Christiansen uniformity underneath this particular design. So we're pretty grateful to see this new product on the market being used and helping to achieve a greater water use efficiency on these decades-old machines. Would love to have any questions now.
Thank you so much, Cody.
So can this technology be retrofitted onto older machines? I think I just heard you reference that possibility.
Yes, we've started, Stephen, focusing on Rankine machines as a competitive advantage, but the algorithms absolutely can handle any span length or variation. One of the keys is having GPS guidance. So if the machine can be retrofitted with GPS guidance, we can apply these methods onto that machine. It's feasible in our first release. It's to Rankine swing arms only.
But even older Rankine machines, is that right?
That is correct.
Thank you.
So Cody, does that mean you have to have a certain level of control panel, the more advanced?
No, in fact, this is independent of the control panel. You may have a standard basic controller with that percent timer, Chris, that you were talking about before. This is all enclosed, encapsulated within the control scheme on the swing arm itself.
It doesn't control the individual nozzles. It's just on how the machine's moving is how you've increased efficiency.
That is correct. Through our studies and computer simulations, we built a program, and what we've seen is that there was diminishing returns with controlling every nozzle independently. However, there were gains when you combined the zones into 3 or 4 segments, or what we call sequential zones, to arrive at the price point that would be acceptable in the marketplace. So there are sequential zones on this particular machine that's providing this level of control.
Thank you so much, Cody.
Yeah, pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so our next product is the Flex Connect lay flat connection system from the Toro company. And Dean, when you come on, just don't forget to go off mute. And we can see your screen, you're just still on mute.
All right, I think we got it now. All right, thanks everyone. So we've got this new lay flat connection system we're excited about, and we're going to tell you a little bit about it today. Lay flat piping is, or lay flat hose is a piping system that's used in temporary and semi-permanent ag applications. And that's the blue larger hose here that you see. And then you can see here we've got our drip tape coming off of that. And this is kind of a typical installation. And this new connection system is this innovative design that we now have, and that's what we're going to show here. So, you know, again, it's innovative. It saves time and water. It also can help prolong the life of the lay flat. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The installation time is fast and easy. We have a short video showing that. It also helps promote less leakage around the connection point from the fitting to the lay flat. And really one of the most innovative things is that this fitting allows the grower to more easily roll up the lay flat at the end of the growing season and then redeploy it. It also has an optional cap. Here you can see that this fitting has a friction fit and then a threaded connection to give it a more positive connection to the lay flat. This is the portion that'll be inside the hose. And then when the grower is done for the season, he can disconnect the fitting and he can insert and tighten a cap here that will protect the lay flat from taking on debris and dirt and help keep it clean inside. And then because the fitting is no longer installed, like we saw in the first picture, the grower can easily roll it up, and the fitting is not causing stress to the lay flat itself, which, you know, eventually the material, the fibers and the PVC can start to fray if you stress this too much, and that can become a leak point. So that's what's different about this connection system. And we have it in various sizes and configurations. And again, it's also good for some of the non-uniform fields that are out there. So here's just a little list of some of the different fittings we have, both in a ring lock type fitting and then kind of a quick ring configuration with valves or no valves, and then again the sealing cap. Now I'd like to show a short video that shows how quick and easy this fitting can be installed. Sorry about that. Well, I apologize, but I can't seem to get the video to play. But nonetheless, the video is showing how to use the cutting tool and then actually insert the fitting and tighten the ring lock. So with that, we'll open up to any questions you have.
Dean, is this product compatible with the 6/8 drip tape that was described earlier?
Yes, it is. We have it in 5/8, 6/8, and 7/8 configurations. Good question.
Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Dean. It's a great presentation.
All right, you bet. Thank you.
Thanks. Now I'd like to introduce our last product in this category, which is the MICMAG 2000 from Micrometer. And Amy, just don't forget to go off mute.
Yeah, I just went off mute. And so as I get things set up here, let me start my video.
Perfect.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Go ahead and share my screen. Okay, everyone able to see that?
We are.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
All right, so excited today to talk to you. I know you guys have seen a few flow meters already, but still very excited to show you this one. This is our MC Mag 2000, and what we did here was we really took feedback from our customers. You may be familiar with the MC propeller meter. That's been out for about 65 years. Pretty popular meter in irrigation and agriculture. And we took a lot of feedback from customers who were starting to talk about getting interested in going toward mag meters and that no moving parts, and kind of some of the things that held them back from doing that. And we've incorporated that into this product. So I'll give you kind of a high level overview before we dive into what really makes this product different and new and innovative. So we launched the MC Mag 2000 back in April, and it gives irrigators an affordable, easy to read flow meter. You can see our large readout LCD display down here, making it very easy and quick for them to get to their flow data. It offers a low cost of ownership without compromising on durability and accuracy. So if you're looking at this meter and you're saying this looks very familiar, it's because it is. We've used the same hardware that you would find with the MC propeller, which makes it a really easy retrofit for customers. They can even do that in field and convert from an MC prop over to the MC Mag 2000. It comes with a standard 5-year warranty. That's a complete warranty. That's everything from sensor to battery to converter to hardware. It is in-field programmable as well as fully in-field serviceable, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So what are the things that makes this different, right? So we have our sensor that you see here. The sensor is patent pending. It's dual electrodes, and what it does is it actually takes the measurement from the center of the flow column, and that allows signal distribution to improve, and that ensures you're getting a more accurate reading. The modular design is very innovative. This really does make it stand out from the rest of the ag mag meters that you see out there in the field, because it allows full serviceability. So what that means is, after that 5-year warranty is up, a lot of our customers, they like to be able to work with the equipment themselves and be able to fix things, and that's what made the MC propeller so popular for so long, was the aftermarket parts. Well, this mag meter allows you to do the same thing. You can order the sensor by itself, and you can replace your sensor. You can get a full electronics kit, including the converter. So it's not just being able to replace your batteries in field, it's being able to actually full up repair your meter if needed down the road. So that's very exciting. Another way that this is different than other mag meters that are out there is that it's able to be partnered with a flow straightener or straightening vanes. And what that means is it is able to correlate, the electronics are able to correlate what that disturbance is, because mag meters with the metal upstream, that could cause you signal issues. We've been able to test and compensate for that. So whenever customers are taking out MC propeller, they can put this mag meter in the exact same spot without having to change their pipe run requirements. So that's really important, because using the vanes and the flow straighteners, you can still get that 1.5D upstream, 1D downstream installation for a true direct replacement for MC propeller meters when customers want to convert over. Another great little feature here is a lot of times with mag meters, you can experience some environmental noise, and that can cause some problems with your reading, and so often customers are forced then to put in grounding and do extra, and this doesn't need an extra earth ground. This little grounding plate here, due to the low voltage design, allows customers to be confident that electrical noise isn't going to be interfering with your signal. And I saw Tiffany pop back out. Does that mean my time's running down?
It does. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions then.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah, no problem.
Does any of the judges have questions at this time?
So Amy, I think if you have a straight run of, say, PVC pipe of a certain diameter, then you can cut into that pipe and drop this flow meter into place. Is that correct?
Correct. So if it's on a new installation and they're just setting up this new system, all they're going to need is a 3-inch diameter hole, so you can do that with a little hole saw. And you can just slip this right in there on top of it and extract with those U-bolts straight onto the pipe.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Will this be, how much more will it be over a standard propeller meter retail cost wise?
It's really comparable. So it's slightly higher than a propeller meter, but not by much. And the other thing is if a customer already has a propeller meter out there, they can use the same saddle, the same hardware, and they can get just the electronics kit, which is actually priced a little bit below what a larger line size, especially because this comes from 4-inch to 12-inch line size.
So if they do that, is the cost actually the same or less than a new propeller meter?
Yeah, then it depends on the size, right? So if you're talking about, the 12-inch, it's going to be about the same. But if you're looking at, 6-inch, 8-inch, then yeah, you could actually see the price for the kits go below what a full propeller meter would be if they want to retrofit in the field.
This doesn't have a pulse output?
It comes standard. It's battery powered standard, but we do have options for pulse output for system integration as well as DC power as well if they don't want to just go with the battery power.
And how long do you expect the battery to last?
The battery is a 5-year warranty. It actually performs a little bit beyond that with the third-party test that we had done 7 to 10 years, but we guarantee it for 5.
Amy, does it tie into any of your telemetry?
You can with the pulse output. You can definitely tie it in with telemetry.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks, guys.
And that wraps up our agriculture judging segment for today. Thank you, everyone who came and joined us and viewed these products. Check out our website on this Friday, November 20th, to see the winners. And thank you so much for our judges for today. And that wraps up this portion.